Welcome back to Ben's Basics. Today we'll be doing beef on weck, my favorite roast beef sandwich. To do this, we're going to need some beef. I'm using a Picanha Roast, some beef stock, bone broth, a horseradish root that I'm going to grate and turn into lovely horseradish sauce, some Duke's mayonnaise, again, the horseradish sauce, sour cream, you guessed it, horseradish sauce, and yeah, mustard, horseradish sauce, black pepper, some flour for the roux, better than bouillon, some salt. I already said pepper, but you need pepper on the roast as well. And the star of the show, a Kummelweck roll. This is a Kaiser roll with some nice caraway seeds and flaky salt on top. This is amazing. Alright, first we're going to prep our roast. I like the Picanha Roast for this because it makes a nice small roast and also has this extremely thick layer of fat. It's going to help us make our roux. So we're going to take a nice chef's knife and we're just going to do a very shallow cut here, and once we get started we can practically peel this layer of fat right off. Like, it's amazing. Just yeah, there we go. Just a little bit more. Comes right off. And you can see the purity of a Picanha Roast right here. You can see the layers of fat, nice marbling. This is an extremely cheap roast and packs an extremely large amount of flavor. So let's prep it by first coating it in some neutral oil. I'm using some grapeseed oil here. There we go. We're going to do a two-stage roast on this roast. We're going to start at 500 degrees for 20 minutes, and then we're going to go back down to 350 to get to nice internal temperature of 135. So we're going to get a nice covering of salt. There we go. And black pepper. Now, the reason why I love beef on weck is I love roast beef sandwiches, but I like roast beef sandwiches that actually taste like roast beef and not mystery meat.
Nah, possum drowned in the pool. You have any garbage bags?
Just throw it over the fence. Let Arby's worry about it.
That's why I like this full Picanha Roast. You know that there's no chance of this being a Franken roast that uses all sorts of weird, trimmings glued together with meat glue, allegedly.
If I can keep down Arby's, I can keep down you.
Yep, we want a nice covering of black pepper on here. The seasoning here is going to flavor the entire roast, so we got to get a nice thick crust. Alright, let's get that onto a baking tray. Lined with some aluminum foil. One less thing to clean. Now we're going to make the roux. So we're going to chop up that thick layer of fat from the top of the Picanha Roast, put it in a saucepan, and we're going to pretty much fry it in its own fat. The beef fat's going to release, the little tiny bits of meat's going to flavor, and yeah, when you see a nice little bit of browning there and a nice little bit of fat at the bottom, now is when we add the flour to make the roux. You don't need a lot. This bag of flour is almost empty, so I'm going to add about, I'd say about a tablespoon and a half of flour. Just stir around, make sure there's no clumps, make sure it browns. You want to just get the lightest of blondes on this roux here. There we go. Keep stirring. Less chance of something to burn that way. So, a little backstory here is I love roast beef. I love sandwiches. I love roast beef sandwiches, but I've only eaten at Arby's 3 times in my life, and I absolutely hate it.
I'm so hungry I could eat at Arby's. Oh my gosh.
But beef on weck, kind of you get, let's say from buffalo. That's amazing. So we're going to add the bone broth here. Just pretty much squeeze the entire bag here. This is going to make, you know, this and the roast is going to make at least 3, maybe 4 servings of beef on weck for friends and family. So this is fine. There we go. I like this brand of bone broth, even though the bag kind of reminds me of an IV bag for some reason. And to bolster the flavor a little bit, we're going to add a little bit of the better than bouillon paste right there, right in there, and let it sort of dissolve. This is going to be amazing. Alright. Just let that boil off a little bit more. As you can see, we have a nice sear on this roast after just 15 minutes in the oven at 500. Alright, we're going to really quickly grab aluminum foil here. And pour out the roasting juices, bolster that au jus a little bit more. Oh man, it's been a while since I've made this video, but I can already taste it again. Alright. Put the roast over, get another color on the other side while we do the slow roast. And we're going to insert a probe thermometer here. We're going to want to get it to the thickest part of the roast. There we go. Set to 135. Throw it back in the oven, and hopefully by the time we finish our prep, the meat will be done. Alright, back in the oven you go. Alright, now it's time to make the horseradish sauce. So I got about 3 tablespoons of grated horseradish. Freshly grated horseradish. But 2 heaping tablespoons of sour cream. 1 tablespoon of Duke's mayonnaise and 1 nicely mixed tablespoon of Dijon mustard. There we go. A little bit of salt. Grab a fork and just stir that together to make a nice homogeneous horseradish sauce. Usually don't like mustard or sour cream on sandwiches, but as a horseradish sauce, this is something I can definitely get behind. Yeah, you can feel that tingle in the back of your nose from smelling the horseradish. You know you got it just right. Now it's been enough time for the beef to rest. Now we're going to prep a sandwich. We're going to take one of our Kummelweck rolls, slice it. Oh yeah, it's got the sturdiness of a Kaiser roll and the perfumey smell of a caraway seed. All right, we got our hot jus that we've strained, and we're going to dip the top bun so it has a nice top coating of that au jus. Then we're going to do thin slices with a bread slicer of the nicely rested beef. Well, the end piece, that's for me. There we go. Can't get this kind of meat at Arby's.
People do crazy things in ads, like eat at Arby's.
They say they got the meats, but I don't know what the hell they got. Yeah, look at that rosy red in the middle. Oh my god. Might not be the perfect paper thin slices, but I don't know. I'll take cardboard. I'll take cardboard slices of good meat over paper thin of allegedly Franken roasts glued with meat glue. There we go. We're going to save the rest of that roast for later. We're going to pour out the rest of our au jus, for this serving at least, in a ramekin for dipping. All right. Now, to just add a little bit more kick, I'm going to do another generous grating of horseradish, fresh horseradish, right on the roast beef there. roast beef and horseradish goes great together. There we go. Just a nice dollop of the horseradish sauce. And now it's time to eat. Oh man, when you feel that punch of horseradish in the back of your throat, up in the back of your nose, oh my god, there's nothing better than that. The savoriness of the beef, and let's get a dip of that au jus there. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, you can't beat that. You just can't. Like, comment, and subscribe. And stay tuned for more.